Everybody ready?
Rock and roll, we all ready to go?
Everybody ready? Hey, everybody, good afternoon. My name is Craig Hatter. We're going to talk about vehicles today. One thing for Fred, I suffer from a disease called prototype minutia paralysis. This is where one starts down the road like on your chassis car, and you think that you have gotten all the information, all the materials, and then some clown shoes that you know goes, hey, Craig, did you think about this one, or did you see this photo? It was a horrible disease I had when I modeled the L&N. And the other thing too is I will do 3 models. I'll do a one for proof of concept, and then refinement of the concept, and then the perfect rendition of the concept. I'll sell the first 2 to people who don't know any better, and I'll keep the 3rd one for myself. None of y'all own any of those. It's okay. They all went out on eBay. So that's how I do it. But yeah, that paralysis became too much for me with modeling the L&N. Come on. All right, so everybody needs vehicles. You need almost as many of them as you do as rolling stock, because if you have buildings on your railroad, if you have loads on your cars, occupy streets, if you have 100 cars, you probably need 100 vehicles on your railroad. I mean, that's just simple math. So here's a few examples. So here, this is a auto car, a dump truck. Another auto car. This is in Brooklyn, delivering fuel oil to an apartment building. This is a Chevrolet from the 40s. This is an International. That's a Kenworth Bulldog from the 50s. And that is a GMC tractor. I guess I should do it up here. Here you have a MacB dump truck, MacB tractor pulling a fuel load. International cab over, COE. And then the white. This is the classic Model Works model, except this has a bustle back sleeper on it. So Mont Switzer, Mr. Monon, will tell you that this B that was cut by Athearn, the model is the best model ever done of the Mac. And Mac B61 is the most produced model or prototype, about 43,000 of it. Mac nomenclature is the first number indicates the thousands of pounds it will hold, and the second number, if it's odd, it's a diesel, and if it's even, it's a gas powered. Ford, this is the Ford C-Cab, the Ford F850. Both of these are the Athearn models. This is a little later model. Ford from Louisville, the Louisville line. Atlas did that truck for us. And then this is a Ford N. Matchbox made this in a wrecker. And I'll show you some things I did to it. I wasn't kind to it. Can anybody tell me what that is?
White Expedition.
But what's on it? What's that truck for?
That's
a tree spade. Excellent. Everybody's smart in the room. So a long time ago, I worked for a landscaper, and I once saw Carl Ray. He had a 6-footer on the back of a 6x6 Army surplus, and he put a 35-foot pin oak in a guy's front yard out in Prospect. You're talking to full-grown tree people. I mean, because you have to dig the hole first with the spade, dump that dirt on the side. Then you go get the tree from its nursery and bring it. I was like, wow. I just put that in because it's cool, and I just want to see if anybody knew what that was. Yes. So here you go. This is the Athearn model, the white Freightliner. There's that. Dual headlights, got the little bar. It's all molded on. There's the step. This one has more accoutrement than the model has. Of course, it's got nice air horns. It's got an air cleaner. Has a dromedary flat here. The guy's reaching back to probably secure this a little better. This is at a truck stop in California, probably on Grapevine. Grapevine Hill, yeah. This is the other Athearn model. This is the Kenworth W900. And the reason it's a 900, it has a 900 cubic inch radiator screen here. So you can put a cat motor in it. That's really why they did it. So they converted to this size from a needle nose to the wide cab in 62. This is the Athearn model. I put this in because it's funny. I like it. This is Canada. This is the Canadian, let's see, Great Western Express Company. So that's a Ford W cab over. I like the fact there's a cool ladder here. It looks like, where is this? And then the old school pumps and these lights. Why are these lights so big? It was crazy. But the best part is that 69 GTO sitting back there because I owned one. And now that's the only reason I put that in. Here's what you can do with kit bashing. As we talked about earlier in the Back to Basics. This is a Peterbilt cab over with an extended sleeper cab, and somebody put a Holmes wrecker on the back of it. Now, how big a thing do you think you can pull out of the ground or out of the ditch with something that short? Probably not too much, but somebody did it. It was at this. It was sitting on the used lot at this Ford dealer outside Bloomington. I was like, "What the hell is this?" My wife indulged me, let me stop and take pictures. So, for you railroad guys, this is part of BN's fleet. I have a significant BN maintenance of way truck collection I got from a guy at RPM. Again, anybody who wants any of my slides or any of my images, just bring me a big enough flash drive. You can have anything you want. I don't care. It's not, I'm not publishing any articles, so it's not proprietary or anything like that. So here you have they got a Pete and they got two Freightliners. Huge cranes. This is at some museum. I think this is in Illinois where they're working with this, but there's that. And then you guys are on the Southern. There's a Southern Chevrolet fuel truck. And there's a later model Ford High Rail. And then the Grumman. He used to go up and down beside my house for years and years on the Southern. Walthers makes the follow-up to Grumman because Grumman got bought by Merton. No, somebody bought them. It's the same van, so you can cut it down. There's a couple articles about it, about you can cut down that van and put the boxes on. You can just use Canada Company doors off locomotives and make you a box, and you can have one of these. I've also seen this truck with this is a Penn Central now. They just put a bed off a regular pickup truck on the back. I was like, how lazy are you? Or did you wreck the other one and had to show your boss that you actually did the work? This is a Mac F fuel truck.
MB.
What?
MB.
MB. Okay. This is the MB Mac. Who makes this? Ralph Ratcliffe makes this cab. And it is this right here. It doesn't say Penn Central. This says Excelsior Company. That's a wholly owned subsidiary. It was of the Pennsy, and then it became the Penn Central, and that's how they ran all their equipment through like this. Even their tractors, like for moving vans off the trail vans, for dragging stuff around. And then here it is here. Now, a guy in the Penn Central Historical Society actually built this truck completely. The issue was getting this size fuel tank and then the oil tank and making it work. So you can get the cab, the frame, the wheels from Ralph Ratcliffe. And then the casting for this and this were made by a guy in Canada. So he built it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And so I have all that waiting. So that's $88 worth of parts to make one truck.
So is that the actual aspect ratio, or is
I put it a little bit to make it fit.
Okay.
It's a lot longer than that. You can look back at this other one and tell how much longer it is. See, it's a lot longer.
Yeah, okay.
They're both tandems. Now, here's the funny part. I tried to make it myself with a Ford. So here you go. This is what happens when you're not right. So this is a tank off of a Hemet fuel for aircraft. I cut it down. The frame is Classic Metalworks, and these are the Ford wheels. That's a Ford C. That is a piece of Lego. That's a tank that fit on the back. This is all scratch built back here. I made the reels. That's just wire, the tiniest wire I could, and rolled it up. All the rest of this is junk out of the toy box or the parts box and that tank. I wasn't that happy with it. Sold it to a guy on the internet. Got $125 for that. Well, I mean, if you can't do the work, you're going to pay me for the work. So, and I wasn't happy with how it finished. And then Athearn came out with this grain truck, and I lost my mind. So Ron has one. I gave him one. Can't remember I made so many. I was giving away like suckers. So here you have the original truck. Here you have it in a tandem, both with the Ford 850. Here you have it in a tandem with the Mac B. Here you have it in a tandem a shorter tandem than this one with the Ford. Here you have a Ford C. We'll come back to that later. And here you can do the R190. This is a classic Metalworks, and I cut it down and put it on the back of that. So, and I still probably have 10 of these grain boxes in my parts box. This is a project I did for Russ. So Russ had his coal mine. Anybody been there? I was like, man, you need some new trucks. So this is time to show and tell y'all. Sorry. So if you look up 1950s coal trucks, most of the boxes sit between the wheels, the rear wheels, and they have hydraulics to lift them up. Some of them will scissors up way high so they can get the chute into the side of the building because that's where they were back then. So Russ is my friend. I thought, I'll try and build those. So I did. The problem is they just didn't really look right. I scratched this one. I was like, no. Then I put ribs on it. And I went, no. So then I went, okay, I'm just going to make them look like dump trucks. So all I did was, this is from the Lifelike Ford pickup. And this is from a Walthers farm trailer. You just pull the frame off, and there you go. You got that going. So there they are. They're all stripped. The metal frame cabs are it's a nasty procedure to get all the paint off them, but I did it. And there they are in work. There's the R190, there's the other R190, and there's the 3000. So again, here's another thing where I lost my mind. Everybody seen a vacuum truck on the railroad? Mm-hmm. So the picture I had was a modern Conrail. They use it on the Northeast Corridor because they must have lots of issues along the rails. But I thought, hey, I'm going to make it. Everybody know the guy who comes to the train sale and sells all the really cool signs, castings, trees. He's in the corner. He's from Illinois. He has the sight problem.
Oh, the open lopes guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he used to sell all kinds of he would take toys and cast them. This is a toy. There's where he cut it off the toy right there. And I thought, hey, that looks cool. That looks like a vacuum tank. I'll just put that on here, add a bunch of other junk to it, and that's my vacuum truck. No, didn't like that either. Sold that to a guy on the internet for $75. So, I mean, if you don't like it, you got to get rid of it. Here's where you can take the Challenger concrete mixer and just put it on an R190 frame. And you have an R190 pulling a Challenger concrete mixer. That's a simple thing right there. Now, do you have to sacrifice Athearn to get that? Yes, you do. So now Athearn concrete mixers are pretty expensive on eBay. So here's where I took a Boley, and this is a Boley dump truck, and put a Ford under it. This is the Atlas L with Bud wheels. This is the car carrier that they used to sell. You can still get this from A-Line. I think it's $25. You can build it yourself. And then this is my Krispy Kreme with decals by Graphics on Demand. That was a really simple truck because everything was white. I didn't do anything to it, put decals on it. It hadn't been weathered yet. Some things have been weathered and some things haven't. So this is a Boley. That is a Roco military bed, and that is a Boley. So all you do, take those beds off or the cabs off of these modern straight trucks and put your own on. These are older projects where the green wasn't best. These are both wreckers from Roco, and this has got a 6x6 drive, and this is just a regular drive. This one has a generator behind it and a welding kit. So again, this is all my maintenance away equipment. You don't have enough of that ever. Here's what you can do with the White 3000. This again is a Boley Walthers flatbed. This is the tractor. I shortened it up and made it a little shorty. And these are two fuel trucks. This is a Penn Central and this is a PRR. And then here's what you can do with the R190. Again, this is the R190 cab. These are Bud wheels. So Bud wheels are expensive. They're 10 hole. And if you buy a set from somebody, they're going to cost you $5-6. But if you buy the whole truck, you get the Bud wheels, you get a bed and a frame, then you can put your own cab on it. It used to be that Walthers would have these great sales where they gave them away. and something that they ask $35, $40 for now, you could buy for $8 and $9, and I'd buy them in bulk. So, Plano boxes for like lures and stuff, and people use them for beading. You know what I'm talking about? You flip them up, they're plastic and they're clear. I have probably 10 of those little parts just for vehicles. So yes, I have a problem. Well, vehicles is my other passion, and it's people like Helton, Don Fowler, Chris Broughton, who their execution makes you step it up a level. If you've seen their work, you go, wait, hey, I gotta move on here. So this one here in the middle, this is not original thought on my part. This was inspired by a guy named Chester Fesmeyer. I saw his model on the 187 vehicle page, and I thought I can do that. So I took a R190 cab, or a tractor, and I cut the Holmes wrecker off of a Mac B Athearn wrecker. So I sacrificed what now is a $100 model to put that wrecker on that little tractor. So a lot of people won't do that. They're like, no, and you can't really buy, you can buy a pewter, I think you can buy a pewter wrecker set, a rig, but I just wanted to cut to the chase. And then again, this is a R190 with the grain bed on it. So here's this is a Matchbox set right here, folks. This is Boley, or Walthers. These have the Ford wheels. This has Bud wheels. I stripped them off. This is kind of a little bit of a process. Anybody even remember this truck? It's a Matchbox. It's SO. It's white. Got green lens in it, green glass, have a green bubble on top of it.
Yes.
Everybody remember that? Okay, so I buy them at trade shows or at vintage places. I'd never pay more than $10 for them. Mint in the box, that model is $100. Matchbox, you have the original box, you never played with it. So I take these, I cut everything off of them. There's a hole in the top, I grind it flat. I put a piece of styrene under the roof of the cab, glue that in with 9,000 cement. Then I Bondo that, file it down, sand it just like a real car because it's metal, and then I paint it. And then these, so it has mirrors from Plano, and these are lollipop mirrors that I use as turn signals. And they're pretty much scale, they're close. So again, I took $30. There's probably $100 of parts there. But again, I got 3 trucks out of it. And then here's what happened to Athearn. John, was that in the 90s or the early 2000s they started making all this?
I believe it's mid-2000s.
Mid-2000s. So Athearn lost their mind. They decided they would make everything they possibly could out of this Freightliner. These all have interiors. They have killer wheels. Everything's painted or chromed on them.
They're prototype paint jobs.
Yeah, this screams the 70s is what this does. So I bought a boatload. They did mostly tandems. I think I have 2 single axles. They did not do any day cabs. You can take the original Freightliner cab and be really careful. Cut the back off, come back up, make another flat cut, take the back, put it back on, and you have a day cab. I made about 3 of them. And then here is the B61. These are all tractors, of course. Again, Athearn, the way we have to buy things now is you either pay for it in advance, you wait 3 years, and it may or may not come. Nobody produces more than they can actually sell. But back in the day, Athearn produced absolutely gobs of these things. Trailers used to go for 2 of their beatas for $30. Now one trailer is $35. But you could buy them forever. And you could buy tons of stuff, and it was not expensive relative to at the time. And these are all the Fords.
The old blue box was even cheaper than that.
I got one from Hobby House, still in the package.
Yeah.
If
you want a B model, Sylvan makes the kit.
Yeah.
Okay. They have some variations up too.
Right.
You
So
wanna go through that.
what'd you say about? Oh, right. So I have a
Cost. The old blue box used to be the cabs, and you showed
Yeah.
a couple of them that.
Right.
With the
I
trailer.
haven't still, you know, they used to come in with the blue, and then they were in like a little baggie, and all the parts were in there.
Yeah.
I had one of those from Hobby House. I think it had $1.75 or $2 on it.
Yeah.
I probably had 50 of those things, but
Yeah.
all of them got used for other projects. So that was the Atlas piece.
Wow.
And then here, these are all the wreckers. That's R. That's a MacB. This is a Kenworth wrecker. You don't see many of these. It's got a sleeper on it. And then these are two Ford, the Super Duty F850s. And this is where I lost my mind too. So they used to make these concrete mixers and everything. So I think I had 5 of them. There's another picture where I had 5. I don't know why there's only 4 in this picture. So this model here has a Dennis Oss 6x6 high flotation tire rigging setup under the frame. Dennis was a great modeler out of Washington State, cast some of the best looking pieces you'll ever see, almost as good as printed. And he lived for Kenworth. He lived for anybody who made the PACCAR stuff, Kenworth and Pete's. And his goal was to make a perfect T800. Now, unfortunately, Burkina makes a perfect T800. So you don't, and I believe some of the diecast people make it in 187 too. So you don't have to work as hard. I mean, but this was in the 2000s. This is 20 years ago when Dennis was doing that. So Dennis sold this. I put it under here. So we have 2 conventionals, the high flotation, and then I took the Challenger off of this and made this the maintenance or supply truck for the concrete company.
So those were out of the box. This guy custom made those.
No, I made them. No, you buy these are all Aetherns. This is just out of the box. This was out of the box. So it's,
Right, I understand that, but then I'm talking about the cement.
that one?
Yes,
No,
all 3 of them.
Yeah, this is all Aethern.
I mean, you didn't repaint those or anything?
No, all I did was pull the gear off of this. I put the new gear under it, had painted all black,
Yeah, so
painted the tires, and then
a lot of detail for an Aether. Of course, you know, my stuff was still
right.
Aether.
Well, you know, and
stuff.
here's the thing about the Max with Aethern. Aethern sold the molds to First Gear in Iowa. And I called First Gear and asked them, are you going to use them? And they said no. And I think the reason is because Volvo owns Mack and they wanted more tribute. You know, how can it be that 187th scale models are going to get intellectual property tribute when the scale of volume is thousands or maybe $100,000? Why would you know? So I believe that's what happened. I think that Volvo went to Aethern and said, you're going to pay us if you're going to keep producing these. And Volvo's Mack or Aethern went, no, we'll just sell them to somebody. And they sold those off. I even call it an ask. Okay, so here is this is the Mack or the white Freightliner. I've put the Bud wheels on it, dolled it up. These are Watkins water slide decals I got from Graphics on Demand. It's one of the only things ever made. Anybody remember the AMT giant trailer, 25th scale? This is it. This is it. These are Watkins trailer. That's what they made. So there's that. And then here, anybody remember Fair's beer? It's always fair weather. Jeff Kubler, who used to live here, is a huge L&M modeler from the 50s. He produced these decals for himself and gave me a couple. So it's always fair weather. You could see it on buses in Indy and Cincinnati and in Louisville. And Southern Star Provision from Louisville Provision Company was down on Market Street, part of the swine world that we had down there, because you had Fisher's, you had Little Provision. And what was JBS before anything?
Armor? No.
Armor. They were Armor.
Yeah, Armor.
And then I don't remember who they were before that. Maybe they were always Armor. But we used to be, it was all, you know, so they called it Butcher now. And then here's where these are the Burkina models. Anybody had any of these? These Dodge Vans? They are super cool. I mean, I've never seen a model that small that has a rear view mirror hanging from the ceiling. I mean, when you take them apart, you got to be really careful because you might lose a part. So these are Burkinas. They're all painted for Penn Central. This is the Ford 73F. Brian had a bunch of these at scale. He'd had them forever. I made him a deal. I bought everything he owned. So one of them's a load on a bi-level, and the rest of them all got stripped and made into Penn Central stock. This is a dollar model, and it is a Chevy van. It is very close to scale. The only bad thing, it has windows in the back, which as a van for the Penn Central or anybody mechanical, it shouldn't have windows. It should be just blank doors. I didn't want to take the time to fill them in or cut them out or anything because it's a metal model. And as a standoff, if you look at it in the background, it'll pass. Here's the bus models. So this is a old look. This is classic Model Works. This is a Bush new look. This is the flexible, I think, if I remember, from Classic Metal Works. This is not the Aether. This is American Models, supposed to be this. Which one's scale? Okay, anybody think the orange one is scale? No, it's way out of scale. The windows, the treatments are all wrong. The flat front and the rounding of the metal in the front for the as the car body comes down is all wrong. So I think I bought this at a show for like $5 before this arrived. So I still have it just for sentimental reasons. I'll sell it to somebody. All right, here we go. Iconic Replicas did the two pieces from Emergency. It's a Ward LaFrance and the Dodge rescue truck. You know, they're from 74, which fits my era. I'm not in Los Angeles, but I may do a diorama one day with a wreck on an overpass. They're working. So, and then that is an HO scale Batmobile. Hot Wheels did that, one in a case of 144 cars. So they were very rare. And it comes in a metal, in a plastic case. So I had to have one. I never caught one at any of the stores. I bought one on eBay. I think I paid $25 for it. But that is a scale Batmobile. The only thing I find a little bit funky about it are the wheels.
TV version Batmobile.
Yeah, this is a 1966 Batmobile. You can buy every other kind of Batmobile you want and all those weird ones from Hot Wheels. But no, that is the one from the show. Same bat channel, same bat time tomorrow. Sorry, we're all of that age. I can speak like that. Most of us are that age. So here's some notes for you all. The best thing on this page for you all is 187vehicles.org. There are probably, I don't know, what would you say, John? 10,000 photos on there?
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Okay. So the problem is he either collapsed his provider or somebody hacked him. He used to have this great search engine on it. So if you wanted to look at trailers, if you wanted to look at open loads on trailers, you could type that in. You could get all those hits and go look at it. If you knew a modeler on it, you could put his or her name in and they would come up. Now you got to surf the whole thing. It's kind of tedious, but he's working on it still. But really, and you can also, if you start at the beginning, you can see the evolution of truck making or vehicle making. It's very interesting. The rest of these are all books. Most of them, Ralph Ratcliffe makes great things. Plano makes almost all the parts that I use, all the mirrors, extra stuff for all the Fords and for the Freightliner too. You can get Freightliner mirrors from A-Line. This model mechanic guy, man, he did a great Rio cab over. I saw it in this thing. I was like, what? So this guy, he's a printer. This is all digital, and that Rio was great. So yeah, that's another thing. So there's that. And then I wanted to give you all a couple more bits and pieces. I talked about that wreck. I couldn't find all the photos. Y'all remember the wreck from last time, the 40027 working, and she was getting scrapped down, a little scrap? This is the wreck she worked. So for orientation, behind this car, headed back south is toward the southern. To the left of the photo, you're going to make the turn and go up to Shelby Street. So this is where the wreck was. There's a big billboard here. That yellow tape didn't really prevent me from getting too close. And then this is that part I talked about. These boys are hand pushing that truck back under that air slide. At least they're wearing hard hats, right?
Might have a head injury. You never know.
I don't know, but I was just like, yeah. And the other part of this is the other part of the train. A Hulcher was working. This is all but era before Corman. Hulcher is around the corner. There were two enclosed racks that didn't quite go all the way over. So Hulcher has a big extended boom crane there, and they are trying to rewrite those auto racks. And then in the head of the train was a couple of Stealth CSX -8s is what the power was. I have those two. I wasn't going to do that to you. And then I talked about these. This is the scale house down at Louisville Scrap, and it's off an M1. So there's a couple.
Yeah, that was part of Water Street Yard.
Well, the scale was?
Yeah.
Okay. I was told it was that because the little scale sits behind all
That's
that.
why it's an old steam locomotive cab.
So let's see. I guess that's it. So one other thing. So I go to places and buy things inappropriately a lot of times. So Helton will tell you, he taught me this. So the Freightliner doesn't have a motor in it, but you can see underneath of it from the back, the tractor on the Freightliner. So what you do is you buy these, you cut this out, you use this, you take the drag pipes off it, of course, and you paint it one of a couple colors. You paint it Cummins blue, International red, or Caterpillar yellow. You put it in there. It's a replica of an engine, and all diesels are Roots blowers, all of them. So the Roots blower, the big blower on top, doesn't really mean nobody's going to see it. Same thing here, same thing here, and these are like you can buy these at places for 75 cents a piece. Then this. People will go, why did you buy that car? You're a prototype model, Craig. Are you insane? Do you need some drugs? The reason I bought it is because it has 3 HO scale AMXs and 3 HO scale Camaros, 69 Camaros. That's why I bought it. So,
I love it.
well, it was priced at $3 and it was half off that booth. I paid $1.50 for it. So, those are the kind of things you do. Vehicles are just kind of a passion. I don't weather everything. I will get that fuel tanker built eventually. All that stuff sitting in a box. I'm like, yeah, one day, jump out at me. So, but yeah. But again, all those sites you go to, he's probably the best modeler in town for vehicles. Broughton's probably the best in.
Hey, Craig, before you go away from that picture, if you look, you see the building behind it,
Yeah, and that
Little Gas Electric.
yeah.
That's the old Jackson Street station, but that's why I said that was all L&N property that you're on there. That was the yard.
Yep. And well, I had the Water Street yard in it. I had the tower and the.
Yeah, there was really 3 yards down there. IC had Floyd Street yard. The other one had the Big Four had the other Preston Street yard, and then they had Water Street yard.
Yep. So, but yeah, you can find vehicles everywhere. And then the other thing you can do with these is what I do. I cut them up. I'll Dremel them or hacksaw them apart, and then I put them in a deep cake pan, fill it full of salt water, let it sit for a week or two. Paint comes off, they look gross, and you know what? In the background, you can't tell. And then you can clip them off. You can put the front clip out. You can just see the grill. This one won't really do much for me, but I can put this bed somewhere. So I have like an unlimited supply of parts for a scrapyard. Anybody have any questions?
Hey, Craig.
Yeah.
I may have missed it. Are you saying Matchbox or Hot Wheels are close enough to HO scale to put them on a layout?
No, I did not. I
Okay.
said that the Matchbox in Ford Wrecker is close enough for me to make a decent model without having to resort to buying it or having it printed. And I can get them for nothing. Now, the S-scale guys are in hog heaven because Iconic Replicas makes everything for them. And Owen Miller's not here, right? Owen's not here. Owen's a big diecast guy. He has all that, and he gets all the HO scale stuff. They make buses. They make more buses than anybody. Buses are expensive. Rapido did theirs, and it's $90 now. It's steerable. It's got lights. How do you take it apart to put people in it? That's always my question. It's anybody taking apart a real expensive passenger car and trying to put people in it?
Yeah.
It's next to impossible without messing something up. And Don Fowler's the guy who taught me, Craig, just cut their legs off and put them in the seat in the truck. because nobody's going to see that. I mean, that's what you do. He's very adamant about putting figures in. But no, S scale guys got it made because everything Hot Wheels Matchbox is essentially S scale.
Let
And
me
then-
make a point about, if you're modeling an interstate, well, let me put it this way, local trucks are local trucks. They're gonna be pretty much consistent everywhere in the country. But until 1982, every state and most of the time every region all had different laws. So if you're modeling a period up until then or before then, do a little research and see what will actually be there as far as a heavy truck, because they're all different and they still are local. But you're not gonna have a Western truck most of the time on the East Coast and vice versa.
Yeah, they mostly went to Chicago and they kind of stopped, and then they would go back.
They would interline is what they call it, like the railroads would do, except you do it with trailers.
1980 is the watershed for everybody. It's deregulated the airlines, trucking, and the railroads.
And then 1982 is the Surface Transportation Assistance Act, and that kind of uniformly gave you trailer lengths nationwide.
Yeah, and the conglomerates now own all the trucks, all the trucking company, or all the manufacturers of trucks. Like I said, Volvo owns Mack, Autocar, and it used to be White Western Star, and then it was Western Star, and they made a beast of a tractor, and now it's just Western, and they still make dump trucks. They still make tractors, don't they, John?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Western, and that is a beast of a tractor. Now, I don't know anybody in HO scale who makes that. You'd probably have to either have that printed or find somebody who's made it in metal and buy it that way, and it's still going to be more expensive. So, but yeah, vehicles are something you just almost have to have on your railroad. So any questions? Any other questions?
Wow.
Nice job.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, sir. The field is a gas plant.
I guess we're done.
All right.
Thanks for everybody. Thanks for joining those who joined online. We'll catch you next time.